small-scale miners for export. That license cannot, that is clause 1 of the license, cannot transmogrify into the deal we are doing right now. One would ask a question. Maybe Occupy, the same notorious Occupy Ghana, started making noise that all these small-scale mining licenses have not been to Parliament. They are illegal.
Right.
As a result, or after that, they were banned. Where have they been buying the gold from? In the past year? Because the law says they can only buy from small-scale miners. Small-scale mining has been banned. So which gold are we arbitraging or selling or sending anywhere? And is it export that you set up a sister company? Hello, lifting the veil. You go there, you don't see any gold, you are given a token, you come here and give it to us and we trade. Tell me, Bright, look, Bright, his first degree is astrophysics. You know that. Bright, tell me, where in the world do you trade gold and pay 7% a month? You sell the gold, finish. Which other trading? That is why you need regulation. So you explain your business model to the regulators, and then they regulate you. So under the Minerals and Mining Act, and I know that in December last year, the Minerals Commission wrote to them that what you are doing is a breach of your license. And so let's stop joking around with this. 3, the Securities Industry Act. It defines securities to include derivatives. It defines derivatives as when you are using commodities. If anybody says that the commodities market in Ghana is unregulated, with due respect, I understand. Nobody mentions derivatives to us in the law school. But with due respect, the law provides for it. Okay. This is a crudely formed derivative. I know you want to end. Last one. If you read it of all of these and see that it is not actually gold that is being traded, it is simply deposit taking, then it's not only the Companies Act, but the banks and special deposit taking instruments. So all of these agencies, the Securities Exchange Commission, if this is the derivative, the Bank of Ghana, if it's deposit taking, the Minerals and Mining, the Minerals Commission, if it's just a metals trading, it's an intersectoral regulation. He has to go and sit down with them. Okay. Then they might find out that maybe this is really...
Right, and that was Ace Ankoma explaining some of the legal regimes within which Men's Gold operates. Now, for years, the operations of this company have been questioned by a number of persons, including even regulators, Bank of Ghana, SEC. We want to understand how Men's Gold works, and so we would be speaking with the chairman of Men's Gold. He agreed to speak with us. He says we should give him a few minutes. He's currently not ready. So what we'll do is we will continue with our other conversations, and we'll come back to this topic as and when he's ready to give us his time. Still listening to us on the Super Morning Show, 8 minutes past 8. Anima is here. Anima, let's begin with what listeners have been telling us, the answers that we've been getting in response to the question that we put out. That was our question on the Ghana cedi. So a reminder of the question again being, though the cedi is currently, the dollar is currently trading at 4.96 Ghana cedis. If you were to choose between $1 and 6 cedis, which would you choose?
Okay, so far my favorite answer is the one where the listener said, and he didn't add his name, is that he would take the 6 cedis, goes to the Forex Bureau, buy the dollar, and then spend the difference.
Spend
so
two people said that. One was from Efo Kofi in Tema.
Okay,
the one you're talking about, you didn't add his name.
Okay, yeah. So he gets the dollar and the cedi, but largely across board, the answers have been that
dollars.
They would take the dollars.
I also saw an interesting person there who said that he would take the 6 cedis and change it to $1.20.
Okay.
So that you have even more dollars.
Yeah,
so he's choosing $1.20. Raymond, and the answer was obvious even to us when we started. There's a general problem with confidence in our currency, isn't there?
Yes, because first and foremost, your currency is not one of the currencies that is cherished across the world. Secondly, your currency actually cannot absorb and contain shocks from across the world. So fuel price increase, you are in trouble. If there's a small problem in the Western world, even if Trump gets angry and engages other countries in the trade arrangement that is unsuitable to the factors that influences your currency, you are in trouble again. So the currency is not a very solid, currency.
Which basically is what the Bank of Ghana was telling us last night, and government officials have been telling us.
They should go beyond that. That is why currencies get shock. You absorb the shock, so you are still standing. Our cedi reacts in a way that it shows the strength is not there, so it is easily beaten by these other international, currencies, that is where the problem is. Because if you cannot withstand the shock, which is going to come for a period of time, you surely would have to buckle all the time.
Great. So let's now hear Dr. Eric Osei-Sibe. He's an economist. He was speaking at the City Forum last night. That was just for a wrap and a summary of what we have started the conversation with. We'll speak with Dr. Eric Osei-Sibe and then the conversation will continue. I've seen Malik come into the studio, which means that he has a lot to say. Have a seat, young man. And then we would continue. Stay with us.
And I just want to make a quick point. And here I want to come to the central bank. That much as the central bank is looking at the demand issues and trying to address the problem, the short-term deviations of the currency, I think they has to start taking interest in the real sector of the economy.
I see.
Because once we are within an inflation targeting framework, which actually look at having a more flexible exchange rate regime in order to support an inflation target framework, and your economy is so sensitive to external sector, you're always going to have a situation where you need to be adjusting your monetary policy up. And once you keep doing that, like it's going to happen because of the exchange rate depreciation, the policy response will be to increase the monetary policy rate in order not to have pressures on the inflation. And that is going to continue, and that will have your interest rate going up. The cost of credit will be high, and that constrains the private sector from production. And so I want to say that if they want to be successful in inflation targeting framework, they must take interest in the stability of the currency. One, as we've spoken about, driving exports. Yeah. I think that the central bank can, beyond what they do, be able to support sectors that bring in more foreign currency. The export sectors, Chrissy talk about tourism. In elsewhere, the central bank packaged some kind of bonds, special bonds, to support export-oriented companies. So that the export-oriented companies can have access to affordable and long-term financing to export, to bring in the revenue that is needed, the foreign currency that is needed. In that case, the central bank wouldn't always be, responding to the insensitivity or the sensitivity of the currency to the external shocks, because you have enough inflows that would then support your inflation targeting framework.
And that was Dr. Eric Osei-Sibe. He is an economist, but he wasn't the only one who came for the City Forum. Listen to the former Deputy Minister of Finance, former Minister of Agriculture, sharing his perspectives from his experience in both sectors. Fifi Kwete.
That I've heard a lot of stress placed on the need for macroeconomic fundamentals to be strong, and I do completely agree. However, my experience in the finance ministry does indicate that it's a necessary condition, but it's not sufficient at all. To forestall some of the difficulties we are having. Anybody who does take a quick look at our economic performance over the last few years will know that the period second half of 2009 all the way to the end of 2011 has been one of the most remarkable periods in our history. The kind of achievement we had in the economy was absolutely, absolutely remarkable. Yet, the point I'm making is this. And if you take note of that period, you know that's a period where we had back-to-back inflation at single digit for, in fact, if we add it all the way to the time it ended, 3 years continuous of single digit, which we have never had in the history of our country. We had it at that period. That same period saw the highest growth in our history. Treasury bills rates dropped as at November 2011, dropped to as low as 9.2. I don't think we've seen that again happen. But in spite of all that, in the year 2012, the first 5 to 6 months saw very rapid depreciation of the currency. And if you do recall, that was actually the period where the now Vice President came up with the famous statement that if you do propaganda with the economy, the exchange rate will expose you. But what he got wrong was that truly the fundamentals were strong. But however, the city still suffered in the year 2012. And that's exactly what it is that seems to be going full circle now. that in spite of the fact that you are getting all the so-called strong fundamentals, the city is having pressures. The city suddenly is no more lock and the key at the police headquarters with the padlock. They actually have started galloping. So we tells you that really it's not simply an issue of what the fundamentals are. There are a number of things that still can affect currencies, and it's important for us to take note of them. That's just a quick one. Now, the final one I want to say briefly is that we need as politicians, and when it comes to this issue, it's important for politicians to be, let's call it, humble and honest enough to appreciate what factors are under our control and what factors are not under our control. Now, if you take credit during a period where external conditions are favoring you and make all the boasts about how absolutely ingenious you are and what savvy miracle workers you are, and then the time comes where external conditions are hitting you, you want to run away from them, then you're actually being hypocritical. So if you take credit for the external condition when things are good, you should have the responsibility to accept when it's not going good as well. And that's important, and that's actually to my group as politicians, in order for us to be far more honest when we are making remarks relating especially the city's performance. Because a lot of these factors, as I said, you can have all the fundamentals very strong and it still can go very much against you. So for some of our concerns relating to export, my quick thoughts on that will be this. Especially having been in the Ministry of Agriculture as well, I do know that as a people, import is what it is we do very quickly. When it comes to export, the challenges relating to it are things our people naturally shy away from. I remember we had to take a very unpleasant decision when I was minister to preempt an European ban on vegetables, simply because of the cutting corners attitude of our own people, where instead of going through the necessary quality assurance job to ensure that what you are producing is meeting the required standards, some people actually don't have a problem going to Agbogbloshie to even buy vegetables in the spot. And that attitude of wanting to make money quickly and cutting corners and not doing things that will bring sustainable, positive result create difficulty for us in terms of making a breakthrough on the external market. Because the external market is one where you simply can't compromise on quality. And for any group of people who want to make quick money, we think trading, buying something from abroad and selling quickly will give us that. The whole change of mind towards doing much more long-term planning, reaching into foreign market, delivering quality product and so on, becomes an issue.
So that was Fifi Kwete, former Deputy Finance Minister. And I remember, Raymond, as soon as he finished speaking, you made an interesting statement that the language of most politicians change when they move to opposition. That was a very different sounding Fifi Kwete, wasn't that?
Because, I mean, you remember setting the record straight. You know, the times you have to deliver.
Yo, the propaganda secretary Fifi Kwete. And I'm not, he was actually propaganda secretary of the NDC.
Yes, yeah. So,
and an efficient, effective one.
Very, very efficient, effective one. Okay, but away from how he spoke and his demeanor and all of that, the substance of what he says, and I know, Raymond, you want to come in here, but the substance of what he says, just to create a context, it tries to link attitude to currency and distances from economic fundamentals.
Yeah.
Interesting statements there, because a lot of the economists that we had there talked about the same. Okay, so we need to move and produce more. We need to move and try and export more, which we've been hearing for years. But here is a perspective that says that, okay, so we can have good fundamentals on paper, talk about inflation, talk about ABC, and it will not show in the currency, partly because of our attitude. Ghanaians are largely traders. If you look at the largest towns where there was a lot of activity, we are largely traders. The traders have become largely importers because we did not have a lot of factories in the first place. When we were starting out, we didn't have a lot of factories to underpin our trade culture. But then again, is that always a bad thing? Example, Dubai. Dubai is a large trading post. A lot of people go and buy in Dubai. But then they also don't have so much manufacturing to underpin it, but they are able to balance it so that they make the most out of it. I think they use tourism, but I don't know where your thoughts are, Raymond.
Yes, they're actually raking a lot through tourism. Also because Dubai's extraordinary jump is they have maintained a very strong currency for a very long time. Again, Dubai actually creates two economies, one for the local people who depend on local things, including their standards, food and everything, and also the other one for the tourists and other groupings. So you can be in Dubai, have wonderful taste, go for all the big cars that are from outside and all of that, but the economy equally will create the opportunity for people within the country to rely solely on food grown in their own country. That's where the difference is. It's always about what the trade balance says for you and which factors are influencing the trade balance. Our curious situation is that when we have trade balance today, it's predominantly cocoa, gold, and also the other third one.
Our third is actually tourism. Our third highest.
I'm talking about commodities specifically, and oil.
There's oil.
Very good. These three, the oil you're not refining in Ghana. Your refinery, the Tor, is not doing much of that particular work. So you sell raw oil out there. The percentage of the oil revenues you get is low. First one. Secondly, cocoa. You export them in their raw value. You're not doing, of course, there's other processing companies. Yeah, they're not doing 90%. They're not doing 98%. So the almost 6 billion value of the cocoa market out there, you're only getting like 2 billion because it's beans that you are giving out there. Thirdly, when it comes to it is cocoa, oil, and also the third one being cocoa, oil, and there's a third one, gold, yes. You do not have the refineries that are actually converting the goods into what's supposed to be a final product. So even though these are driving your economy, it's in small volumes. It's not in the huge ones that refined products would have produced for you. So your trade surplus is actually trade surplus negative to your interest and not boosting your economy so high. This is how it is possible for you to, and I agree with him. Indeed, the spokesperson of the vice president, and I have shown him before, his own writings, he co-authored papers in the area that suggested that he can still have strong fundamentals and have depreciation happening to some extent. The problem is, how do you weather the depreciation? That is how strong your fundamentals will show. So you can have strong fundamentals, but it cannot withstand extreme depreciation or very sharp ones, which is sustained over a period of time. That is where the problem has always been. And this comes from different lengths. Economists have different, and of course, some people will complain about how we follow structures which have been long time running and not working. Fundamentally, our economy set off on the wrong footing when we lost agriculture as the basis. So first, agriculture, big one. You get more produce, you produce, and you have more people working on the farms. Then they get it into the factories, into processing. Then finally, you send the product out there. Our agriculture is still basic. We are not processing much. We are not even concentrating on agriculture as the backbone. So the manufacturing sector we are seeking to have in this country is not really agrarian. It is the one that after saying that almost 60% of the factories are supposed to have should be agro-processing based. Agro-processing will then make you have a boon for you to develop into the other industry and service. We skipped agriculture. We went straight to industry and tried with service. So our economy is not usually how the pattern has been for most economies which have strong backbones. That is why we will always not be able to withstand the shock. And his taste part is true. Because you do not have a strong backbone, the Ghanaian products that people are used to. So the gentleman, when he was a kid, was used to Ghanaian product. We feel that it is status ascription to be having a taste that's foreign. So the taste for foreign goods and the very nice ones that you buy in the big malls that's attached to a certain level of people is what influences even the poor to move in that direction. First, we said it was cheaper, then the argument was pushed aside. Then later on, we drill down to the point that it is difficult for your state to develop when your taste is still foreign. I've said before that I've been to Nigerian very big hotels. They still serve Nigerian rice. With all due respect, Nigerian rice is terrible. I ate it. I was so disappointed in the food. But it is like state policy that regardless of who you are, you will have to eat that particular rice. even in the biggest international hotels now in their country. Same with Egypt. And if you check, and some parts of South Africa also put in that same policy, you cannot grow your economy when your economy is outsourced. When virtually everything you are creating in your country is feeding another economy. Fundamentally, if we try fixing our problem from that place, then we are heading in the right direction.
Another point Ken Thompson made, 75% of containers which come to our ports leave empty.
Yeah.
75%. That alone is such a huge food for thought. You made a point about the industrial sector, and I'm going to go on the phone lines and speak with Akwesi Gyamfi in a moment. He's a businessman in the pharmaceutical industry. We want to talk about the impact of the depreciating cedi on his business, and we would be getting those perspectives shortly before Malik comes with us. But then the point about agric and industry. Have you noticed how in Ghana, industry, at least the agro-processing industry has helped agric more, so that we can use we can use industry to spare agric. Rubber is a perfect example of how GREL as a company alone has made the rubber has made the average rubber farmer well off, and the average rubber farmer has a steady line of income. He is someone who can look forward to a buyer because there's GREL there. So yes, we can say we can't skip agriculture and move to industry, but I think that we can use industry to pull agriculture along, which is the point really. Because if we keep on saying, okay, let's go back, invest straight into agriculture and expect it to kick forward into industry, that may not work because the people need someone to buy. If you're a farmer right now and you're a farmer in Cape Coast or sugarcane farmer somewhere close to Cape Coast with a Commander Sugar Factory, you can know that you will get money that will make the agri sector larger. But anyway, those are just a few thoughts that I wanted to put out there. We'll come back to them shortly. But Akwesi Gyamfi is on the line with us. He's a businessman. He's in the pharmaceutical industry. Let's look at what he thinks the impact of the depreciating cedi is on his business. Good morning, Akwesi.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Akwesi, in the first place, in the past few months, how has business been for you in the face of the state of our Ghana cedi?
If I might say, it's a bit terrible. It's terrible. It's terrible. Terrible in the sense that for the past 3 months or so, if you have to change $100,000 to do business, the same time now, if you have to change 100,000, you need to add a whopping 60,000 Ghana cedis to get the 100,000 you are getting about 2 months back. And couple of that, anytime the dollar goes up, the duty also goes up. So I've heard people complaining the duties have been increased, but it's not that matter. It's because the dollar is going up, because the duty is work on the currency that you import. If you import from Great Britain, they will use the pound to work the duty and translate it into cedis for you. So anytime the dollar goes up, like today, if you are paying a duty of, let's say, 20,000, tomorrow, if the dollar goes up, you go and pay 1,000. So that's basically what we are going through now, and it is terrible.
Well, some would say that it is this way because we have too many people in the business that you do. We have too many people who are buying things from outside the country and bringing them down.
Yeah.
What would you say to that thought?
I think it is, but the fact of the matter is this. We all know that here, setting up industries and those kind of things, like everybody has been agitating for set up industries of where it's not as easy as we see it. We all love to have our factories here and there, let's right center forward. But it's not as easy as we say it, because if you want to set up a factory, you need a whole lot of chains and a whole lot of lines, left, right, center forward to set it up. But a lot of people have been able to do it. But if you are an average businessman like us moving, it becomes a bit difficult. So the important is, I know that we have a lot of challenges, but the market itself is very saturated, very, very saturated. So a whole lot of people is in there. We understand. But you see, from government to government, everybody promises we are going to do this, we are going to make life better, we are going to make life easier for you to go even beyond what you expected. Me, that's my worry now. That's my worry now, because the politicians always ask us, do this, we are going to do this for you. But the next time you experience these kind of things, it's passed on to the previous government. That's my worry.
Okay.
Because,
yeah, Akwesi, was it your expectation that you would get a more stable currency or you'd get a more valuable currency? I'm asking that, did you expect that maybe by now the cedi would be stronger in terms of trading at maybe 3 cedis to $1, or you expected to see maybe 4.5 throughout?
Yeah. What I was expecting, when the previous government left the office, I think it was 4.3. We were dealing with 4.3 or whatever. So what we had on the radio and the campaign promises, I thought it was going to go like 4, even for me. So I didn't anticipate it going to 5, like we are buying now. In the bank, it's 5 cedis. So I was anticipating a very lower trend of the dollar. Trust me. That's my disappointment.
So what is your current reaction to the markets now? Are you cutting the size of your business? What are you doing to make sure you stay afloat?
Yes, what we do to stay afloat is that we have to just do, let me chip in this. Formerly, we weren't even paying for the duty was 10, and then the VAT was 17.5. You add a couple of things, and it comes to like 35%. But now the FY government took the duty off about 3 years ago and became 17.5 VAT, and then the other things come up and they go to like 24.5%. Yeah, that's what we've been doing. But now there's something going on that we are fighting now. They are classifying all multivitamins as food supplements, which we are trying to tell them not to. But that is also going to let the duty go close to, if they add another 20%, that the duty will go close to 50%. We've started paying some. We are still talking, but it is even going to be difficult. So what some of us, if they don't change, what we do is we do the best that can. We close part of it and do the little that we can. Because our point has always been, my point is that if you want to slap another 20%, just tell us, please, from January or whatever, we are going to buy. You don't slap it on us. Like today, you bought your goods, you made your order, and the goods are in, and you are asked to pay additional 20% without you knowing. The point is that we've been dealing with people. The steps are not dealing with in the back; they are dealing with people. So they should tell us, please, this is what we want to do.
Okay.
They are still on it. We started paying them. They are still on it. And we pray they listen to us.
Okay.
Like that, coming up, it's going to be very difficult. Because Food and Drugs has a mandate to classify the goods as this medicine, this is supplement. You've shown them all the letters from FDA that this is a medicine. We show them they are comparing the supplements to the local multivitamins like 4,4-CD or whatever, and then those over-the-counter drugs to a supplement.
Okay, so
yeah,
right. So the challenge that you have with the conversion of multivitamins to a food supplement is that it makes it more expensive because it attracts more taxes.
Yes, it has more tax. 20%.
Okay.
You talk about 20%, then it's like.
Akwesi.
It's like but 20% means about 100% of the duty that you're supposed to pay. If you compare, 20%. It's not just 20%. If you say 20%, somebody might say it's just. But 20% is about 100% of what they're supposed to pay.
I understand. Thanks for bringing those concerns forward. But on the cedi issue, I wanted to ask that if things were to continue the way they are now, looking at the price changes that you are going through when it comes to clearing your goods from the port and when it comes to how much you have to buy on the dollar, do you ever see a point where you may have to call it quits and pack up?
Yeah. So that's it. Like, considering what is going on, if today we are buying the dollar at 5, we don't know. Every Monday when you call the bank, you have to close your eyes and pray that they tell you something better. But any time you call the bank and it's going like, oh, today is 4.86, tomorrow is this. What else can we do? Because our money, our capital is going down the drain. If you always have to bring in more money to support what you were getting maybe before, what do? It will get to a point that your capital and everything will dwindle, and you if you are able to import like 3 containers, you might have to do with 1 until probably you can do no more.
Akwesi Gyamfi, thank you very much for joining us. Akwesi Gyamfi is a businessman. He's in the pharmaceutical industry. He's been telling us about the impact of the depreciating cedi on his business. That last thing here he said really, really stayed with me. He says that every Monday when you call the bank, you close your eyes and hope you get a good figure. That's the reality of what some businessmen deal with each and every day. We'll take these important messages. When we come back, we will continue the debate. I just saw an interesting message. Someone asking, why don't we do a currency swap with China? It's a point that came up yesterday at the forum where it was observed that Ghana's biggest international trading partner is China. Basically, and it's a no-brainer. When you look at the goods on our markets, if you walk in through Cantonment or Mokola right now, you see that a lot of the women, they go to China and go and get goods income. It comes up to some $2.76 billion. In that case, why don't we agree with China that we will swap cedis with yuan rather than when we are leaving for here? Because when we are leaving, we change to dollars. When we go there, we change to yuan, and then we buy from there. We change back to dollars and we come. Good. So why don't we switch so that the cedi will keep that strength against the dollar? Because that means that all of these Chinese traders, when they are going, they won't be looking for dollars anymore. They'll be looking for yuan, and then the strength of the cedi against the dollar will be stronger. That's an interesting point that maybe we can explore when we are coming back. And I think that is something that a lot of traders will be very interested in if you're listening to us. It's something that could affect the price at which you buy most of the things on the market today. Stay with us. This is the Super Morning Show.
It's a new day. I want you to first think big, not small. Think of how great we can be when we work together. Together, we can ensure that our hard work will provide a better future. Together, we can provide a foundation for you and your business to succeed, regardless of its size. Together, we can create opportunities for all. Bank with us today and let's journey forward together. Forward together. Cowbank, forward together.
It's time to own a hotel-inspired apartment near Accra Mall and switch on your urban life with a cool price starting from 315,000 Ghana cedis. Yes, you heard me. Choose our market-leading studio, 1, 2, or 3-bedroom apartment from Oasis Park Condominium at Tetakwashi and enjoy urban resort life. For this and more, call Evelyn on 0204 343 011 or Kojo on 0204 343 008. This is another catered development by CPL Developers. CPL Developers, built for life.
Solar Tech, the power to protect.
Yes! Solartech, your tried and trusted brand, is your total solution to all power problems, whether low voltage, high voltage, power surges, spikes, brownouts, or what have you. Solartech fully protects your valuable equipment. No matter your appliance, we have the perfect Solartech for you. Choose from my tried and trusted range, such as Fridge Guard, TV Guard, High Volt Guard, Multi Guard, AVS 13, AVS 30, AC Guard, Solartech TV Stab, Solartech Fridge Stab, UPS, and Solartech Voltage Stabilizer. Beware of counterfeit Solartech products. Get your genuine Solartech products today at our Abelenkpe office and all our authorized dealers across the country. Contact us at number 10 Yiwa Street, Abelenkpe, or call 0302-761450 or 0302-775106.
Solartech, the power to protect.
Airtel Tigo is undergoing a nationwide network upgrade so that we can provide you with wider coverage, faster internet, and super clear calls. This network upgrade is going to be a smooth one. However, in situations where you have a network challenge, such as no service or emergency, kindly visit any Airtel Tigo shop or SIM upgrade center nationwide to upgrade your SIM for free. You can also call Airtel Tigo on 100 or 0277 551 000 or 0260 000 100 for more information as we fully round up on our network upgrade. This upgrade will not affect your Airtel Tigo Money account, airtime, or phone contacts. It's what we've all been waiting for as we give you a bigger, better, stronger network that gives you the most. Airtel Tigo.
What's your thing? A high baller, always after the bigger picture. Living your life in boardrooms, transiting through VIP lounges into first or business class. Sipping on some whey while flipping through pages of FT and Bloomberg. What's your thing? Your life is busy and your schedule is crazy. But when you can make some time, you try to unwind with some jazz or high life. Over some drinks with friends, but the business talk never ends, even at the bar. Live the life you love on the go with the Stanbic Bank mobile app. Stanbic Bank, moving forward.
Grab your complete bathroom solutions from Jacua with 10 years unmatched warranty. Jacua offers world-class showers, faucets, sanitary ware, and all your bathroom accessories. Visit X Interior Design Showrooms, Main Spintex Road and Kojo Thompson Road, and get your Jacua fittings now. Or call 055-250-9566 or 023-684-5512. Jacua, complete bathroom solutions.
The Association of Ghana Industries, AGI, in collaboration with the Ministry of Trade and Industry and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, presents Ghana Industrial Summit and Exhibition 2018 under the theme International Partnership for Value-Added Industrial and Local Content Development from the 18th to the 20th of September at the Accra International Conference Center. GISE provides massive strategic networking opportunities for local and international participants, plus an interactive knowledge platform of stakeholders and players in various sectors of industry. Sponsors: GNPC, Rosatom, VRA, Deloitte, Newmont Ghana, Republic Bank, GCB Bank, Baroque Ventures, and Backpress. Media partners: Joy Business, Graphic Communications, BNFT, and Ghanaian Times. For inquiries on exhibition space and conferences, call 0244-933-106. Be a partner to drive industrial growth.
"17 minutes to the top of the hour here on the Super Morning Show. Enjoy 99.7 FM. I am Daniel Dazi, here with my friends Raymond Akwa, Enimwa Enimado, and Malik Dabo. The conversation has begun really about the state of our Ghana city. We are discussing some of the thoughts that came up last night at the City Forum organized by Joy FM, your thought leader at the City Center, the Economics Department of the University of Ghana, Legon. We've already been looking at, we've also spoken to Akwesi Jemfi. Akwesi is a businessman who is working in the pharmaceutical industry, and he has been telling us exactly how he feels about the rate of the cedi now. Made a serious statement that every Monday when he calls the bank, he closes his eyes to hope he doesn't get a figure of more than 5 Ghana cedis, and that he would prefer a currency that is stable. And he was expecting that even by now it would be around 4 Ghana cedis, looking at the expectation of the current government when it was coming into power. Some other ideas have come up, some of which came last night about the currency swap with China and all of that. We will be sending the conversation in those directions very, very shortly. You want to stay with us on the Super Morning Show. There's also a lot more to be heard from last night's City Forum. Now, are you expecting money from your relations abroad? Have you ever been defrauded of your money remittance? Open an ADB account today. Send your name and account number to your relations abroad. Ask them to use MoneyGram Direct to Account service and receive your money in your account in minutes. With MoneyGram Direct to Account service, there is no PIN code wahala. You can access money on all ATMs in Ghana or send it to any mobile money wallet using ADB mobile banking app or *767#. Visit our Facebook website or call our hotline 0302 210 210 for more. ADB, Truly, Agric, and more. Now, Kingdom Books and Stationery has discounted all school materials by 10% this academic year. Parents and guardians and students, look no further. Visit any of the Kingdom Books and Stationery outlets out around Ghana and enjoy the amazing discounts available from the 1st of August to 29 September 2018. You can call ahead of time to book an appointment on 0501 40 10 50 or 0302 762 101. or log on to kingdomgh.com. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all office essentials, stationery, and furniture. Now, if you're a senior HR practitioner with at least 10 years experience and topmost HR management position in your organization, HR Focus has another groundbreaking event for Ghana and the HR community called the HR Changemakers 2-Day Summit. It's setting up a committee of HR change agents who will lead the drive for HR transformation in Ghana. The date is 19th and 20th September 2018. The time is 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. each day. Venue is Tang Palace, Roman Ridge. To be a change maker and for further inquiries, contact Daniel on 020 793 7708. So before we go ahead anymore, let's take some text messages.
Okay, so this one says, first of all, what backs a country's currency for it to be strong? Dubai has maintained a stable rate for over 5 to 7 years, and it is oil that they have. In a country like Poland, you can enter the country with dollars, euros, or pounds, but it is not accepted for domestic transactions. Here, even landlords are charging in dollars and taking dollars. The inconsistency of the central bank is also another headache. In South Africa, domestic transactions are done with the local currency. What doesn't Ghana have except our loyalty to use the cedi, yet we're struggling? The way the citizens even hold the cedi is pathetic. Why? Good morning, super morning show, as in morning, morning. Yeah.
As in crying
morning. Yes, thank you. I was trying to find a synonym. Good morning, Joy FM. Please, the current debate on the cedi depreciation and free fall is not any IMF or anybody, but the traders who, because of Christmas, are changing more cedis to dollars to import goods for the coming festive season around this time of the year, and forex dealers who are speculative to increase rates and demand, so the traders rush for it, therefore bringing shortage in this period. And this is from Opinion Ayimadu in Dansuman. The government should not blame any external force for the cedi fall. They should call on Vice President Baumia to arrest the problem. And that's from Sami in DC.
Thank you, Enima, bringing us in those text messages. Let's now hear the head of financial markets at the Bank of Ghana. He was speaking yesterday at the Cedi Forum as well.
Made up of. Okay. So but the bottom line is that this is improving. Last year, for the first time in a long time, we had a trade surplus. A trade surplus means that if you take your trade accounts, then you exported more than you imported. That's what it means. However, we still run a current account deficit. I think last year was 4.2%. So, but it's a big improvement to what it was before. Not long ago, we were running like double-digit deficits, what we call the twin deficits. So there has been some improvement in our external position. So what that meant is that in 2017, we were able to build our gross international reserves of 1.1 billion, which was significant. As of May, the build-up in our net international reserves was around 300 million. So the bottom line is that last year, due to the significant turnaround in our external position and improvements in other numbers, such as our fiscal position has improved significantly based upon the IMF program and our commitment to the program, such that the deficit last year was much lower. And actually, the government has committed itself to even a lower deficit of 4.5%. So the bottom line is that our deficit situation is improving. Our external position is improving. Our monetary policy has also improved. Monetary policy management has also improved. So that's reflecting in we attaining a single-digit inflation now. Actually, we are still in the band. There was the latest reading now is 9.9%. for August. So if you look at all these numbers, there is an improvement. But then one will ask, why is it not showing in the exchange rate? And I will put this in perspective. That's why I want to show the charts. Okay, because if you look at the performance of the currency, I think someone said that, and it wasn't Mr. Thompson saying that for the 57 years that he has been alive, the cedi has never appreciated. And that is to expect when you are largely running a balance of payment deficit.
Stephen Opata is head of financial markets as the Bank of Ghana. Raymond, he ended on a very, very... Okay, I've been talking to Raymond a lot this morning. Let me come to Malik, who has been coming in and out. Malik, I mean, he said a very interesting thing getting to the end that, in fact, he did a summary of going through our numbers, our deficit, and foreign exchange reserves. And said that, okay, all of these numbers are looking good. When it comes to the exchange rate, even our rate of depreciation is not that steep. We are currently doing some 9.9%. So basically, the value of the cedi itself is not so much of our focus if you compare it to the rate at which the value is going down.
I mean, yesterday I had Said Boachi, who is at IFS, the Institute of Fiscal Studies, and he made the argument that if you track the performance of the cedi, the average depreciation within the first 8 months of every year is usually hovering around 11-point-something%, and that this is not bad. But it was instructive that he pointed out that there have been years when we have actually, the currency has appreciated over the same period. In terms of negative appreciation, which actually, negative depreciation, which means it has actually appreciated. And he cited 2010 and between 2001 and 2004 when he said that the cedi had the best performance ever. But Daniel, why are we having a discussion over the value of the cedi? Why are we determining the strength of our currency by measuring it against another currency? It is simply because the currency is dependent on that other currency. And it's dependent on that other currency because you buy a lot using that other currency. And why do we buy a lot using that other currency? It's because we don't produce the things that we need. Go to your home, take a look. Look at all the things in your home, the things you wear, the car you drive, the footwear you wear, and tell yourself how many of those were produced in Ghana. Completely zero. Now, if you live on things that were imported into the country, it means you need that currency to go and import those things. And why do we need to import them? First of all, let's take food. And Raymond was talking about rice. Rice consumption, 66% of the rice we consume in Ghana is imported. 66%. And the consumption has actually increased. In 1999, thereabout, the average Ghanaian consumed about 17 kilograms of rice a year. By 2008, that had increased to 38 kilograms. 2018, we are talking 68 kilograms of rice, which means the average Ghanaian consumes more and more rice. And because you consume more and more rice, and you are not producing the rice locally, even though you have all the facilities and all the structure, you have the land, you have the weather pattern to produce rice, and yet you don't produce the rice, you have to go and buy it somewhere to feed yourself. So you are spending between $300 and $500 million a year to produce rice. And Fifi Kwete was talking about taste, and I have said before, when I was in the Ghana Institute of Journalism, I lived with my illiterate brother and his illiterate wife, or my uneducated brother and his uneducated wife, I would buy parboiled rice, which is milled. And I would buy this parboiled rice from a widow who would go and buy the paddy rice, parboil it, mill it, winnow it, prepare it, and then I'll buy it and bring it for consumption. By the time I got to second year in GIG, my brother's wife had stopped cooking the local rice, which I bought from the north, from this widow. They were now eating perfumed rice. And I was sad because if even those at that level, the lower class, the lower social class, have acquired a taste to consume imported rice, I would no longer buy rice from that poor widow. We will go and buy perfumed rice. I am giving a job to a better person sitting in a country I do not know and may never travel to, and I have taken that job from that poor widow from whom I bought the paddy rice. This is what we have done to ourselves and we continue to do to ourselves. And yet we have the weather, we have the land, we have everything we need to produce the rice. And Raymond talked about the taste of the rice. I have eaten rice elsewhere. It tastes like gari. The local rice is far better. And yet we import the rice. And we have not put any measure in place to reduce it. So every year, the people who import the rice, and who, by the way, are the people who are sponsoring the political parties, and the political parties that constitutes government, and government that is supposed to generate policies that will reduce the importation of rice.
And increase the production of same in the country.
Absolutely. How is that going to happen? And you talked about cocoa. How long have we been producing cocoa? And I have heard Pastor Mensa Otabil express his pain and anguish about the fact that we do not have a confectionery industry in Ghana. Yeah. And yet we produce the best cocoa. So they take the cocoa, we export the beans, and you pointed out to that. The beans is used, they turn it round, and then they produce chocolate. And then we take Ghana cedis and go and change it to dollar and go and buy the chocolate and bring it to Ghana and sell.
And the value addition is almost like 200 times the original cocoa beans that we gave them.
So that's when every chocolate bar is being sold, the Ghanaian farmer gets about 6% of the cost of a chocolate bar.
So that Ghanaian farmer, when I was growing up in the northern parts, it was in vogue for young men to travel to down south, weed in cocoa farms, get some money and buy a 4-battery or a 6-battery tape and buy a bicycle, buy a mattress and buy a few things and go back to their village. And every farming season, they'll go back to their village and buy a plow on their fields. They're able to buy bullocks and work. If the cocoa farmer made a lot more money from the cocoa production, the cocoa farmer could expand his cocoa farm. He could employ a lot more people from these parts, and then these guys all earn a certain income. And we will not need to go and import chocolate because you are producing the chocolate and you're actually exporting it and you are earning the dollar that you need Ghana cedis to go and buy, which then puts pressure on the local currency and devalues it.
You know what this ends us up in? Remember, the time that President Akufo-Addo went for the UN General Assembly and he started having talks with Alassane Ouattara about how Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire must begin to work together and form a cocoa bloc, like how there's an oil bloc in the OPEC region. I remember there was a lot of reading around that. Ghana and La Cote d'Ivoire have about 63 billion when it comes to combined GDPs. But Nestle, as a company which we processes a lot of the cocoa that we export to, is worth about 90 billion. As a group. Now,
the producer is way below the guy whose only job is to have.
I mean, it's you see, and you refer to Reverend Otabil. I was listening to him as Festival of Ideas. You know how the African markets will be worth about 4 trillion by 2030. That's 4 trillion if you take the worth of about the top 10 companies in the world and they are combined. They are quickly going to pass that. The point that we are trying to make here is that we cannot do things in the way that we have been doing and expect to develop our nation in this way. Malik, I'm asking to put a pin in it because we need to. I'll come back straight to you. We need to do the Joy Business Minute and then we'll take a few messages. But then the point you made was made in such succinct form by Dr. Prister Chumesi Bafo last night at the City Forum. We'll be hearing that very, very shortly. But then let's take the Joy Business Minutes first.
Hello, welcome to the Joy Business Minute on the Made in Joy FM CD Forum.
There's Charles and Dara with all that you missed.
Economist Dr. Eric Osesibe is asking the central bank to control the activities of black market operators to halt the city's further depreciation. He says the activities of these operators alongside forex bureaus and commercial banks do not augur well for the local currency.
Another economist, Dr. Priscilla Chimesi Balfour, says dealing with excessive imports and exporting goods with value addition would prove a more robust strategy to keep the local currency strengthened.
A former economic advisor to government has described reactions to the city's depreciation as unnecessary. Dr. Said Bwachi says the city's troubles are not as bad as it has been made to look.
Meanwhile, the city opened trading this morning at 4 cedis 96 pesos against the dollar. The British pound is going for 6 cedis 30 pesos, while the euro should be sold to you at 5 cedis 60 pesos.
You are up to date.
We'll be back at 3:06.
With new Delay Fruit Yogurt, you need more and more. Delay Fruit Yogurt, deliciously creamy and thick. It comes in fruit cocktail, strawberry, vanilla, and natural flavors. Adults like Delay Yogurt. Kids love Delay Fruit Yogurt. Contact Soticam Ghana Limited, located at Manette Junction off the Spintex Road. Call 0554 018 894. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
With MTN Protect, this is my story.
All these downloads, and I still have so much memory thanks to the cloud backup.
Oh, wow! Thanks to the anti-theft feature, I can track and lock my phone even when it goes missing.
What's your story? Make the right decision by securing information on your mobile phone with MTN Protect. Text SD to 1359 and experience real security solutions like cloud backup, antivirus, anti-theft, and a lot more everywhere you go.
Possibilities. Africa is filled with them. People are going places. Businesses are starting up. Things are happening on our continent every day. And as a forward-looking organization, we believe there's no better time or place to do business than right now in Africa. That's why, as one of the largest companies listed on the JSE Top 40 Index on Africa's largest stock exchange, we deliver world-class expertise to grow businesses. So, if you want to go from local to international, we are a truly African organization with global reach. Absa Group, proudly serving Ghana as Barclays. For more, visit absa.africa. This message is brought to you by Absa Group Limited.
At Afrodan, we believe that many of the problems people have with their health is as a result of the way they sit. In other words, your chair can kill you. Here's Dr. Marcus Mann of the Chiropractic and Wellness Center.
What you have to remember is that the spine is the lifeline to your body, and posture is the window to that spine. Now, posture is affected by your daily activities and habits like sitting. That's why at the Chiropractic and Wellness Centers, we recommend what I believe to be the best chairs available for preventing not only subluxations, but also other health problems that you may not be aware of. And that's Rabami and Mobilex chairs. Unfortunately, on a daily basis, I have to correct the effects of this poor sitting habit in our businessmen and businesswomen. Always remember, optimal spine equals optimum health.
So, for the sake of your health, buy Rabami or Mobilex chairs from Afrodan. We're on the first floor of the Swansea Shopping Arcade. Telephone 663-085.
Hey, Kwame, what's up here? My brother, my wife has been diagnosed with cancer. What? My brother is here with kidney disease too. Oh, yeah.
Do you know the World Health Organization estimates that over 16,000 new cases of cancers are diagnosed annually in Ghana, and kidney diseases account for 10% of all medical admissions to Kolebu?
But thanks to Glycocritical Illness Plan, GSIP, I have spent over 20,000 Ghana cedis on my younger brother's disease. Yeah. What is GSIP?
Glycocritical Illness Plan, GSIP, provides you with financial support when diagnosed with any critical illness or dread disease such as cancers, strokes, kidney failures. Speak to GlycoLife today on 0302-218-500 for your GSIP policy. It is definitely in our interest to survive. GlycoLife, we cushion you for life.
Same great bank, helping you grow.
Do you have challenges transferring money to your friends or customers with accounts at other banks?
Are you worried at the delays with other banks' checks you deposit into your account? Do you have challenges paying your workers or suppliers instantly across banks? You don't need to wait for 2 days anymore. Walk into any ADB branch today and send your money instantly to any account in Ghana, or link ADB Instant Pay to your accounting software for all salaries and payments. You can also access ADB Instant Pay service on our mobile banking app, internet banking, and star 767 hash. ADB, truly a Greek and more.
Coffee in your cup and joy on the set. The Super Morning Show is always the best bet on Joy 99.7 FM.
Seven minutes past 9 on the Super Morning Show. Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. We'll shortly be hearing Dr. Priscilla Twumasi Bafo, who was speaking at the CD Forum at the City Center last night. The Economics Department of the University of Ghana. Very, very interesting. You know, now we are importing water. We are importing the water that we drink. That's how serious it's become. And we'll hear her explain that a bit for those of you who may have missed it. And then the conversation continues. You can send in your messages. I've been hearing a lot of I've been seeing a lot of messages coming through our WhatsApp console, and so we'll be going through them shortly. But the third Kojo Banredu Memorial Lecture will be taking place at the Ghana India Kofi Annan Center for ICT Excellence, Ridge, Accra. The date is Thursday, September 20, 2018. Time is 4 p.m. The lecture is on protecting the public purse, keeping the gates shut before the horse bolts. It will be delivered by Auditor General Daniel Domelevo. The chairman is Professor H. Kwesi Pempe, Executive Director, Center for Democratic Development, CDD Ghana. This event is supported by the Multimedia Group. Now, as part of the 80th anniversary celebrations, Presbyterian Boys Senior High School and Odadia Global Association presents the Presec at 80 Grand Derby, dubbed Our Powerful Past, Prosperous Present, and Prominent Future. The date is Saturday, 15 September 2018. The venue is Presec School Grounds. Time is 10 a.m. prompt. Chairman is Right Honorable Professor Odadia Michael Kwe. Speaker of Parliament. Special guest of honor is His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, President of Ghana. Dress code is Presec at 80 anniversary cloth. Oh, come along and join us. Happy studious are we. For more info, kindly call 0242 705 983. Now, text messages are brought to you by Afrodan. Your back must last you a lifetime, and Glyco Travel Insurance Policy. We cushion you for life. Let's hear Dr. Priscilla Twumasi Bafo.
In recent times, it's not peculiar. India, for example, South Africa, a lot of emerging countries are suffering. So we need to find, before we get to the bigger picture of solving the challenges, and Mr. Thompson said it's been over 57 years that he's watched. I was nowhere near by then, but in the meantime, as we go around talking about the issues, we know that we have structural challenges that we need to address. What are these challenges? Since independence, this country is over 60 years. We are still sending goods in their raw forms. Why can't we add some basic value and command good value when the goods go abroad? Why are we always talking about these things, but we don't seem to be, taking any proactive measure to do them? When governments launch, policies such as, for example, planting for food and jobs, one district, one factory. These are ingenious policies that if we put our heads to them and we make them work, we know we can add value to our agricultural produce. First of all, if for nothing at all, we can feed ourselves and ease the pressure on the currency that we always market to women Mr. Obeng's people are always queuing, changing the dollar, going abroad, making money, making profits. They are interested. They are rational economic beings, we understand. But if we can produce certain basic goods that we consume domestically, it means that we would not have to import those goods. Now it has gotten so ridiculous to the point that people are even importing water. And you ask yourself, what is the point? Really, because people believe that everything imported is good. And when you keep doing this, it means that we don't have a cause. We don't have, the morality to question about the value of our currency. We cannot get up and from morning to evening demand foreign goods and expect our currency to be stable. We need to do something about it. Countries that have done well, we have examples in East Africa, South Africa, where countries make a conscious effort to domesticate certain aspects of their economy. You go to some of these countries and you eat, for instance, you may be offered some rice that with your perfume taste rice, you think that, what kind of horrible rice is this? But the people are content with it. They are dealing with it. Countries that have developed have gone through the mills. They have devoted themselves to develop what is locally theirs to make them competitive. That notwithstanding, we also know that, our local producers should also, do well to add good value and offer us good goods and services in one way or the other. So in my closing remarks, I'll say that, yes, we know the structural challenges that we face. It is about time that we sat down to tackle them, add some basic value to our goods. But in the meantime, the central bank is also there to mediate between, the free fall of the currency to make sure that we are not found wanting.
Dr. Priscilla Twumasi Bafo. Good morning to you, Dr. Priscilla Twumasi Bafo. She was one of the people that, she was on our panel last night. We've said a lot, Malik Enimwa. Listening to all that we've said so far and what we've done so far, is it that we don't have the commitment, or is it that we don't have the resources?
No, I think, let me pick it from what she said, that business people are rational economic human beings. Anything that they can do and make profit out of, they will, and they do. It is the reason everybody is looking for Ghana cedis, buy the dollar, go and import, and then make your money. But that ties in with something Fifi Kwete mentioned, which is one of the things that plague us as a nation: cutting corners. We have evolved, unfortunately, a society that eulogizes and praises, values, respects cutting corners rather than one that sticks to diligently following rules. We frown upon the rules. In fact, we are upset when we are required to do things in accordance with rules. And we do that consistently. I have been to the Food Research Institute, and I have heard harrowing stories about Ghanaian exporters who will not bring their goods to the Food Research Institute for certification and for the necessary tests to be done to preserve the food items well before they export them. And you know what? They export them into the EU, and then everything gets confiscated and is gone.
Actually, we were banned for a number of years. Our vegetables were banned from the EU.
Yeah. Absolutely. In one instance, they told me that a mango exporter actually lost about 140,000 euros of mango just because the person did not follow the rules and the mango was confiscated. Imagine how much that is to the business person. So this society's admiration for setting aside the rules is one of the fundamental challenges facing us. So it's a reason why we don't want to go through the rules to tick all the boxes and make sure that the whatever we're exporting is certified and we have all the necessary certification to back it before we export. And once you are unable, you don't have the discipline. And look, let's not kid ourselves. We are not a very disciplined people, and we struggle with following rules. Once we don't have the discipline to do that, exporting becomes a problem. So what do? Easy way out. get money, go and buy the thing, come and sell it, and then make your profit, go and buy again, come and sell it, make the profit. And then your local currency is weaker for it and you are poorer for it.
So, Malik, the point comes back to attitude, really.
Fundamentally.
I want to counter any more with this point. When I was doing the report at Madina, Zongo Junction, the roads report, I remember going round the supports. Well, the bridge as it is now, the footbridge as it is now, right? So it has a stance there, it's left with the ramps to go on it. And I realized that people were selling very close to it. I said, Charlie, if we are going to do the ramps now, we would evacuate these people. And I know, even though right now we are advocating for the bridge, I know that the next advocacy that will come out will be these people demanding compensation. And it reminds me of just some. Oh yes, and that is how it is. I'm bringing it home here because Philip, my friend Philip, Asempa FM, Ekosi saying host, he made this point on his first show, is that we don't have the discipline to develop. We don't have the discipline to say that I'm going to give up this thing now so that I can develop later. And it goes into our national policy. It goes into our personal lives, our businesses, and then translates into our national policy. Anyone, do you agree?
Yes, I mean, there's definitely a lack of discipline all around. These conversations that we're having this morning, I'm sitting there and I have a smile on my face because I've heard them so many times. You know, how we should produce more, how our cocoa, we should be processing our own cocoa, how we should be processing our own milk. I mean, so we have evaporated milk, but we actually don't make fresh milk. So if I want fresh milk for cereal for myself or for my kids, I'm buying President, I'm buying LV, I'm buying imported milk. And we have cows in Ghana. I mean, but how come that milk is not on the shelf? How come that is not easily accessible? Have you bought fresh milk, like fresh milk from
Ghanaian made fresh milk?
Yes.
No, I haven't.
I mean, and it's something that is so.
What Ghanaian made do you even buy?
I'm wearing a shirt, please. I'm wearing a shirt.
It's something that is so basic.
And I think my beads.
Your beads. Are you sure? But Malik made a point which also stayed with me. He said that what we need is sometimes for there to be a ban on these products, and yet the people who are importing these products are the ones who are funding the political parties. And so then it becomes a vicious cycle. Because when you cut that off, so when you put development over yourself, then you're cutting off your source of funding. I remember a few years ago, about 3 years ago or so, when there was the whole poultry brouhaha, because Nigeria at that point had banned poultry from coming into Nigeria. And I remember it was being spearheaded by Obasanjo. And they are doing really well because people were eating local chicken, and the poultry farmers in Ghana were pushing for that agenda, and it wasn't happening. And the thing is, at the end of the day, we were getting chicken that was like 15 years old, you know, and now when you're buying chicken, you have to look for the one in Brazil because apparently that's 10 years old, and then there's some coming from here which is 13, which is 15. But at the end of the day, Malik, it also at that point had to do with cost, because you're buying one Ghanaian chicken for about 30, 35, 40 cedis, and you're buying these imported frozen chickens for maybe 15, 17 cedis. But that's because it's a chain, isn't it? So we're talking about the cost of feeding them. Even we're talking about eggs. We wanted eggs which had yellow yolk, so you had to feed the chickens yellow corn. But the cost of yellow corn was higher than the cost of the corn. I mean, it's like a team effort, you know, it's like moving parts of one body. We need everyone to do their part. We can't do some and leave some.
Have you assessed the cumulative cost to you? Whilst if you bought the local chicken, it may have been more expensive compared to if you bought foreign one.
Yes.
But if you look at the cumulative effect of the depreciation of the cedi, and the fact that there are other factors which all contribute to how much money you have, you realize that in the end, there's actually more cost.
But Malik, the thing is, I can't do it by myself. So I may buy the local chicken. I may buy the local sausage, which is 4 times the price of imported sausage. If I want minced meat, if I want these things that we eat, if I'm prepared to pay 4 times for the local, and I'm the only one doing it, it doesn't affect the economy. So there has to be a point where we say we are not importing sausage, we are not importing chicken, we are not importing water,
and then encourage the local people to produce for the market.
Exactly. You know, anyway, it's funny because when Malik mentioned the initial points that you mentioned of rice, when you were talking about the importation of rice, I quickly went back to check because the Poultry Farmers Association of Ghana, the vice president is a good friend of mine, Napoleon from Takrady. and he sent me this a while back. He said that Ghana's frozen chicken imports. It's an online clipping. I want to say newspaper clipping, but it's a story. It's a link to a story. He said Ghana's frozen chicken imports jumped from 13,000 metric tons in 2000 to over 155,000 metric tons in 2011, costing $169 million. According to Mr. Ron Stryker, the Netherlands ambassador to Ghana. Figures show that in 2017, a total of over 135,000 metric tons, that's about 112 million birds of frozen chicken, was imported from the European Union, EU, which is a 76% increase over 2016 EU imports. So we imported 76% more chicken from the EU.
But should I tell you why?
I remember I was in an IEA program hosting an American senator. Forgive me if my thoughts are a bit frayed. I'm trying to pull it from some edges of my memory. As an IEA program, and someone asked the question, why is America so interested in Ghana? He said, in the first place, 1% of our GDP goes to aid. So all the aid that we are getting from America, that was before Trump policies. 1% of America's GDP goes to aid. In reverse, what did they get in reverse? He said, most of the chicken you eat is from he pointed to his fellow senator. Most of the chicken you eat is from Delaware.
And that's how much?
For my fellow senators.
$196 million.
Yeah. So, no, this 116.
There's a percentage of increase.
This $169 million that I mentioned was in 2011. This
but
$169 million. So basically, what's the Kakabra Ebejeke? You understand? They're bringing such a small amount.
Daniel, you're talking chicken.
No, but
what does it take to produce chicken? What does it take?
Wait, Malik, the chicken, let me bring it home for you. No, let me bring it home for you. One box of imported chicken at last year was 90 Ghana cedis, Malik. One box of imported chicken, which had, let's say, 40 pieces of chicken thighs, which you can cut into 3. And these are sizable portions. So you're getting 120 portions of chicken for 90 Ghana cedis. Now, 90 Ghana cedis will buy you 2 locally produced birds. So when you sit down and you think about it, you have a family of 4, a family of 5. It makes more sense to buy the box of chicken at 90 cedis and get 120
narrow
portions.
Sense.
But the thing is, no, it will only make wide sense, Malik, if I say I won't buy it, and you say you won't buy it, and Raymond says he won't buy it. That's the only way it'll make sense.
Guys, so a listener was listening to us and he sent us a voice note which sort of sums up what Enima was saying. I want to play it quickly and then we'll go take some very, very important messages. When we come, we'll talk to our good friends. You're going to hear such an inspirational story. A story that was published on 19th of February 2014. My Joy Online, an article about how Dr. Marcus Mans made a business from wellness. This morning, we have the privilege of speaking to Dr. Marcus Mans himself. How do you make a business from wellness? This is one that you want to hear. We will, but let me play first of all, what's this listener thoughts? We'll go for these messages. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Okay, Daniel, I want to make a quick, I want to draw your attention to something about the, in terms of consumption of local foods and stuff like that. It is not so much an issue of Ghanaians wanting to eat rice, imported rice, as against what we locally produce here. If you look around, check restaurants that actually cook or serve Ghanaian dishes. They are more expensive than any other food vendor who sells rice. Go to Connect, go to even that woman that sells food just by your wall. You realize that eating fufu or eating yam or eating banku, a bowl of banku, is more expensive than somebody walking across to buy wache or buy rice. Now, why is this thing so? It is so because hinterlands, where we produce or grow the food, the roads are bad. So it is pretty much expensive to even bring our food crops to the market centers. A family or a household of 5, if they want to eat a meal, let's say dinner, it costs less for them to buy 2 cups of rice as compared to going to buy a tuber of yam for the entire family to share. So it is actually cheaper to eat the imported rice than to eat the locally produced foods, simply because between the farm and the market centers, it is more expensive to bring them.
25 minutes past 9 on the Super Morning Show on Joy FM. We'll take these important messages. We'll be back. Stay with us.
Ladies and gentlemen.